Moving on, we've got question 8. I've got like 12 questions here. What is a pure monopoly? So a pure monopoly is a rare market structure where a single firm controls all the market function for certain products without having any substitutes. That's correct. I think a decent example of a monopoly, something around here, is I believe Nestle has a natural monopoly on some springs in Ontario. Can't remember exactly where they are or what they're called. And as a result, they can produce like, for like 500 bottles of water, it was like 30 cents or something absolutely ridiculous. But do my best to characterize monopoly. Definitely have to search some of this up because I'm doing it off the top of my head right now. So I'm going to characterize monopoly. And what that looks like is, first and foremost, that there are barriers to entry. And what that means, there are different kinds of barriers to entry. Sometimes they're technological, sometimes they're natural, as I mentioned with Nestle, etc. But it means that other firms cannot easily enter or exit the market. And like this might be a financial barrier. There's a lot of different things it could be. Second, they are not price takers, as in monopolistic competition or perfect competition, but they are price makers. I got a bunch of notes on monopolies back here somewhere. Give me a sec. Lots of time. I'm gonna have to Google it. So in addition to the barriers to entry and the fact that they are price makers, single seller, another one that I just saw. So something similar to monopoly, but not exactly the same, would be an oligopoly, which there's only a few sellers. In a monopoly, there is one single seller. Perhaps Nestle, as I mentioned earlier. Price discrimination. What that means is that they can charge different prices to different consumers. And they have these advantages that they don't have, that firms in a perfect competition don't have. Because of these high barriers to entry, they're the only seller, and it is very difficult for other sellers to break into the market. So as a result, if somebody wants the product, they can charge them at their willingness to pay. Not sure if I'm gonna put you guys through the profit maximizer. It's kind of implied, but I should write it nonetheless. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to draw a graph for you guys or not, because it is busy. But I might can sort of explain it as I go, if so. Yeah, I guess I will. So we've got, as always, well, not as always, but as is commonly seen, quantity on the x-axis and price on the y-axis. We've got our demand curve sloping down. With a monopoly, demand is also going to be equal to average revenue and is also going to be equal to the price they charge. So this is where the price discrimination comes in. With people that would pay for this high price, they're going to charge this high price and get, here, let me draw this quick. People that would pay this high price up here, they're going to get this amount of consumers. So for those consumers, they'll charge them this high price. Then for people that are willing to pay this high price, that quantity will be sold to them, so on and so forth. This is theoretical. In practice, it's difficult to identify in consumers' willingness to pay. But with the development of technology and machine learning, I believe they are making gains in that. We've got our marginal revenue, which slopes down at a lower slope than our demand curve. We've got our marginal cost, which always looks like a bit of a check mark. And our average total cost, which is sort of flat U-shaped. So one thing to remember about monopolists is that in order to maximize their profits, they always produce where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. I'm going to need to look up, and I think it might be where it reaches the average total cost is where the profits are, but I could be wrong. I don't want to lead you guys astray. Right. So this is ringing a bit of a bell. So where the marginal cost crosses the average total cost, this area is where the monopolist makes their profit. So I will point in here, pi to denote profits. And we've got our P here. So again, they price where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. That's here. So you can draw a straight line up through marginal revenue, marginal cost until it hits the demand curve. Then draw over to the price. Where that same upwards line you drew crosses the average total cost, you can draw left. That box in between is where you can draw the profits. Monopolists are not as good for society because there is deadweight loss, and that will be characterized by this upwards line you drew underneath the demand curve and to the left of the marginal cost curve. So it's going to be our deadweight loss. I've probably drawn this a million times in my life, so you would think it would be drilled into my head at this point, but apparently not. So the point where marginal cost equals actual cost, I believe, is where a perfect competition will produce. So as you can see, the monopolist produces less than they would in perfect competition, and they do it at a higher price. If you guys take a second to look through that, we can move forward or take a picture.